I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Sarah.
And welcome to What We're Reading for the month of March. And today we'll be looking at the book Frost by E. Latimer.
So before we get started, we'll have a little summary like we always do. So I've got it up on the iPad. Let's get through this. I froze the first boy I ever kissed. And I don't mean he got cold feet. Megan is pretty unhappy when she's forced to move to a tiny, freezing town in Canada. It's going to be pretty boring, right? Things heat up when she discovers that she possesses growing power that's becoming more and more difficult to control. Not only that, but the power has attracted some interesting people. A smouldering young man who claims to be her rescuer, and his icy but attractive enemy. They both are claiming to be the good guy, so who exactly is she supposed to trust? Megan finds herself embroiled in an ancient battle between two kingdoms, slowly discovering an identity she never knew she had. Dun dun dun! Very dramatic. Okay, plot. This plot, it was one of these ones at the beginning. It was like, not cliche, but you could like, I was a bit like, this could go a lot of places. Please don't go the places I want you to go. And then when it started to get into like, the big good stuff within like the two kingdoms and everything, I was like, oh, it's so cool, oh my god. Like it was all at the very beginning, like the high school stuff. I'm like, please don't become a weird like cliche high school drama. You sound so promising. And then it got into like the whole history between the two different kingdoms, fire and ice, very polar opposites, and it was just, I was really intrigued. It was really cool.
I know, like it got really complicated really fast, and then it was this kind of urban fantasy where this high school girl has ice powers, and then all of a sudden she's in this other fantasy world with these two kingdoms at war.
Yeah, it was the way, it was one of these, you were in so much of the unknown with her, and you were following it with her, which I think was really good for how to explain what was going on. Like, as she got taught it, we got taught it as well, because then you could follow her. I think that's part of the reason why the confusion works so well, because you're getting the same information she is, and you're just as confused with her, especially when it comes to who am I meant to be trusting. I thought it was going to be like a retelling of the Snow Queen or something like that, and it was like, nope, not at all.
I know, I was kind of torn for a while, but I had a hunch from the moment she met Loki that she'd probably end up with him. What did you think? Did you guess that?
Oh my god, I was like, please be with Loki. Like, well, Loki, he was like, at the beginning I was like, I think this is the love interest. And then the text came in, and then we got to meet Eric. But then I got really frustrated with Eric because he never referred to her as Megan. And I was a bit like, she isn't this Amara? She isn't this old, like, ice princess. She isn't her. She is Megan. Stop calling her that. And I was getting really, as she got frustrated, I was getting frustrated. So when Loki came back and automatically called her Megan, I was like, you're it. You're now my OTP. Like, I don't care. You called her Megan. So, and then she got with Loki, and I was just like, I'm happy. I'm still. Yeah, definitely. That was, other than like the background stuff that was going on, the actual like the love and the romance was what gripped me with this book, especially because I was like, she could go with either one, but I have a preference, and it's so clear that both of them are like, they know she could go with either one. So
yeah, I had a feeling she'd go with Loki just because it's kind of the perfect pairing, like fire and ice. So
yeah, though, I like that. I think that was really good. Like, the only reason that I was like, Eric could be in the running is because she was like, he was one of her people, so maybe meh. Like, she was like, they were normal together. Normal. But yeah, fire and ice, it works better. And they like combine the kingdoms and everything. And it was just beautiful.
Yeah. So is that your favorite part of the book, like the romance, or?
Surprisingly, yes. I think my favorite part of the book was Charlotte in general as a whole. Because I was like, she's 100% like the character, if I got to be cast in this, I'd want to play as in a film. Because none of the serious stuff is really happening, but she is quite important. So I'd be like, I like Charlotte. But I think the romance is what kept me gripped so long, because other than like the characters were really good, but it was like the actual trying to like build a world that was quite sensible. You needed that sort of like humanity romance to like keep you going within it. So I was like, yes. And I was just like, I have to like be there for my boy Loki. Come on.
I know, I was so excited to see Loki again when he snuck into the palace because I'm like, oh, more romance.
Oh gosh, yeah. He came back in and I was like, oh, love triangle! Yes! Are there any big plot points that like really you were surprised by?
I think maybe I was expecting her bad guy brother, like her brother, the other son of the queen, to kind of turn or something at the end.
Yeah, I thought like he might see her, like his mum, for like the real she is and maybe join the good, but then she kills him, so I was a bit like, oh, okay. But for good reason. He tried to kill Charlotte, so I don't care. I was like, yeah! At that time, I was just so like, yeah! I think the only thing that really caught me off guard were the wolves, which only were there for like 3 paragraphs or something like that. I was like, wasn't expecting wolves to chase you out and then just become your friends automatically afterwards. I was a bit like,
yeah, that's true. That was not expected when they came to like help them because they were kind of not too friendly at first.
Yeah, definitely. I understand like the wolves do come, like Fenrir is a person from like Norse mythology. It's like a giant wolf. That is a thing, so I guess he's trying to pull those in, but it was just one of those, it was like, and now there's wolves joining you. Okay, more people.
And were you surprised by Charlotte's death at the end?
Oh, I understood it was needed, but I literally like burst into tears because I was like all the way through it. Charlotte was my one like source of like happiness and hope throughout all the confusion with all her little comments and the fact she was just like embracing this world that she now was in, and she was so like gave up this boy to be with Megan, like best friend. I was like, they need to be best friends kind of thing, and then she got stabbed and I was like, why would you do that? I was so happy to see she was okay, but at the same time I was just like, no, you can't kill off Megan. Charlotte, you can kill off Megan if you want.
I think it'd be
The ending wouldn't be happy, but it was just one of those. I was just like, Charlotte's so innocent. No, though she's not really. Charlotte was very cool as a character. I was quite proud I was quite happy with her.
So speaking of characters, would Charlotte be your favorite?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I really like Megan. I could understand her struggle. I just think I always go for that character that just brings, it's just like a little bubble of sunlight, because I feel like you need one of them in books like this. And she was very smart, Charlotte. Like she knew how to get rid of a body, and like all this like you can't use the curtain rail or anything because it's like DNA, and it was just smart things that Charlotte was just like, cool, now we'll do this then. And I was just like, I like how your brain works, Charlotte. That works really well.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a friend who's good at disposing bodies when you have this crazy freezing power.
Yeah. When you have those ice powers, you need that friend who watches way too many detective shows. FYI, people of the world. That's a weird thing to be telling people. How about you? Which is your favourite character, do you think?
Well, of course I liked Megan, but she's the main character, so aside from her, it's also probably cliche, but I liked Loki.
Yeah.
And I felt for Eric. Like, maybe he wasn't my favorite character, but I did really feel for him,
Yeah, Eric and Loki, Eric especially, it was one of these, you understood the situation he was in, and I feel like he got loads more points in my brain when you found out he was like the leader of the rebels, and I was like, that's fine, I like you a bit more now. I just got really annoyed with him because he couldn't look at Megan without thinking of his ex-love, and I was just like, that's just adding to everyone else seeing her as just this ex-princess, and I got really frustrated with him.
Yeah, but that must be like so hard because in a way some of Amora, as we see later, is still kind of inside Megan.
Yeah. I think he says something like that. He's like, you're so much like her, but you're also so different as well. And I'm like, well, yeah, she's a different person. Loki and Eric. I like them both, I guess.
Did you ever think of Tom Hiddleston or anything when you were reading about Loki?
Maybe the first time his name popped up. Then after that, he became like this little, like, he kept molding into different people's faces in my head, like, all the way through. But I think you can't help but think Tom Hiddleston, but I also couldn't think him because at the same time Megan was like a 17-year-old in my head, and I was like, that doesn't work. Nope, Sarah, get rid of that right now.
Yeah, at first I was kind of thinking Loki from Adventures, but the more I read about him, the more he became kind of his own character. Yeah, something that threw me off, and this can kind of transition us into writing quality, but Loki was spelled a few different ways, which, I mean, I guess this is kind of the first draft of the book, which we'll mention later, but I think she had several different ways that she was spelling Loki in, like, the first few chapters, which kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, I think I picked up on that because I was writing it down as I went, like notes and stuff, and I just spelt whatever name came up when I was writing it. So when I was looking through the notes, I was like, either my dyslexia has come to play here, or what the hell has just happened. But it could be, I think it could be just they haven't gone through with like an edit yet. But other than that, like, I really enjoyed this book, like writing style wise. Like from like the get-go, I was like, I really like this writing. I'm really into this. Like, you get from the beginning, you get a really good idea of what kind of character Megan is as our protagonist, what she feels, what she thinks. Especially when it came to like, I really was on board with her when it came to her at the very beginning when she was explaining Janet, her stepmom, and I was just like, you have a really sassy attitude. I quite like that about you, kind of thing. I do like a sassy character, but I think that's quite normal now for YA. A lot of characters are quite sassy.
And sarcasm, lots of sarcasm.
Lots of sarcasm. Yes. But it was, you, like, all the characters, you organically met them, and like you met them without realising you met them, and then you got a name, and it was quite, the story, everything kind of came together towards the end. The dreams were really cool, though I feel like they kind of just dotted around. It was a bit like, you had to realise she was in a dream sequence. I mean, later on it started to be italicized, is that what it's called? But like at the beginning, it was like just a random paragraph, and I was like, she dreaming? What's happening? Just even something, it's a bit stupid, but it's like something small like that, you kind of, it does help a little bit for the reading style, but I like the writing.
And she probably fixes a lot of it in the actual published.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like she probably will. I really now want to see if I can buy the book and just be like, what have you changed? What's different? I want to know what this Loki is like. Is he still good? Is there a book too? It's been definitely, I feel so far, one of the better writing styles we've read so far. Like, it was very professional, I feel, for even being like a first draft before being picked up for books. I feel it was quite professional.
It was. I really like her style.
Yeah, definitely would read something again from her. I need to go through her stuff and have a look. But yeah, you can totally see why I got picked up professionally to be published, if that kind of writing. I was like, oh, I wish, I want.
Alright guys, well there's our discussion for Frost by E. Latimer. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll join us for next month. And next month's book is going to be Shadow Watch. So I'll leave a link below in the description, and make sure to read it quickly because the author is actually getting it published by April 20th. So we're going to try and read that before then, and then we'll review it at the end of the month. And speaking of published books, Frost has also been published, as we were talking about a bit earlier. Now there's a more polished version with extra scenes and things like that. So I'll leave that in the description below so you guys can check that out if you want to. Well, after this video, you should go ahead and check out the video on Sarah's channel, and we'll see you next month. Bye!
Bye!